from desire.
Yes.
Yes.
So one has to bear in mind that we are not justifying it or sustaining it or condemning it, but observing it.
Yes.
To really go into the question of pleasure, I think one has to look into desire first. The more commercial and the usage of things, the more desire grows. You can see it, commercialism and consumerism. Through propaganda, desire is sustained, is pushed forward, is what is the word I'm looking for? Is nourished.
Yes.
Expanded.
Nurtured.
Nurtured.
Yes.
Inflamed. That's the word. Inflamed.
Inflamed. Mm-hmm.
And you see this happening right through the world now. In India, for example, not that I know India much better than I do America, because I've not lived there very long, I go there every year. This desire and its instant fulfillment is beginning to take place. Before, in the Brahmanical Orthodox sense, there was certain restraint. There's certain traditional discipline which says, don't be concerned with the world and things. They're not important. What is important is the discovery of truth, Brahman, reality, and so on. But now all that's gone. Now the desire is being inflamed. Buy more. Don't be satisfied with 2 trousers, but have dozen trousers. This feeling of excitement in possession is stimulated through commercialism, consumerism, and propaganda.
There's a lot of terror, isn't there, associated with commercialism on the part of those who are purveyors in this, because the pleasure fades off, and this requires a stronger stimulus next time.
That's what the couturiers are doing. Every year there is a new fashion. Or every 6 months or every month, I don't know what it is. No, there is the stimulation of desire. It is really quite frightening in a sense how people are using or stimulating desire to acquire money, possessions, the whole circle of a life that is utterly sophisticated, a life in which there is instant fulfillment of one's desire, and the feeling if you don't act, there is frustration. So all that's involved in it.
Would you say then that the approach to this on the part of what you've described is on the basis of frustration? Frustration itself is regarded as the proper incentive.
Yeah, yes, that's right.
This
that's right.
I see. Yes. And since frustration itself is a nullity,
yes,
we're trying to suggest that nullity is in itself interested in being filled, whereas in fact it couldn't be by its nature.
Like children, don't frustrate them.
Yes.
Let them do what they like.
Yes. Yes, that reminds me of something years ago in graduate school. I was brought up as a child in England, and in a rather strict way compared with the permissiveness of today. And one of my graduate colleagues told me that he had been brought up by his parents in a totally permissive way. This was at Columbia University. And he looked at me and he said, "I think you were better off, because at least you had some intelligible reference against which to find out who you are, even if what you found out wasn't right, there was something to find out." Right. Whereas I had to do it entirely on my own, and I still haven't done it. And he talked about himself as being constantly in the world trying to hide the fact that he was a nervous wreck.
Okay.
We had a long conversation over dinner. Yes.
So I think before we enter into the complicated field of pleasure, we ought to go into this question of desire.
Yes, I'd like to do that.
I mean, desire seems to be a very active and demanding instinct, demanding activity that's going on in us all the time. Mm-hmm. So what is desire?
I wonder if I could ask you to relate it to appetite as over against what one would call hunger, that is natural. Sometimes I found a confusion that seems to be a confusion to me, and that's why I'm asking you. Someone will get the idea in class, talking about the question of appetite and desire, that if we look to nature, the lion desires to kill the antelope to satisfy his appetite. Whereas it has seemed to me the correct reply to that is no, that's not the case. The lion wants to incorporate the antelope into his own substance. He's not chasing his appetite. So
I think they are both related, appetite and desire.
Yes.
Appetite, physical appetite, and there is psychological appetite.
Yes.
Which is much more complex. Sexual appetite.
Yes.
And the appetite, intellectual appetite. A sense of curiosity.
Even more furious.
More furious, that's right.
Yes.
So, I think both desire and appetite are stimulated by commercialism, by consumerism, which is the present civilization actively operating in the world at the present time, both in Russia, everywhere. This consumerism has to be fulfilled. That's one.
Right. We talk about planned obsolescence.